guys, welcome to Christina Cakes It. I'm Christina and today I'm going to be making an angled textured buttercream cake with a chocolate sail. So the reason I'm making this cake is I just love all of the modern cakes that have been really trendy really for quite some time now. And I had seen somebody else make kind of like this angled cake, and I had this idea that I could in theory make a cake that's in the shape of a parallelogram. So as you guys can see, I have 4 6-inch layers here ready, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add a little bit of simple syrup to these to help keep them from drying out. If you need a tutorial on simple syrup, I have one on my channel, but it's really just equal parts of sugar and water, and boil it for like 5 to 10 minutes and let it cool. Add it to your cakes and it's like a game changer. It definitely keeps them tasting really fresh. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start stacking my cakes. So I have an 8-inch cake board here. I'm going to add just a little bit of buttercream to help the cake adhere. So you're gonna see that I start stacking on a slight angle, but I'm turning the cake just a little bit to the right. Like, I don't know what that is, like even less than 45. So I finished stacking my cake, and the next part is super important. I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the freezer. You do want your cakes definitely hard before you carve them. I have learned that the hard way. So they should go in the freezer at least an hour, if not overnight is totally fine. So my cake has been in the freezer for quite some time, and I'm just gonna go ahead and start carving it down. So this is the part that I feel like is very tricky. So you're gonna see that the cake here is lined up flush, like the corners are lined up, and it's kind of just like splayed out. I feel like if you take like playing cards and you splay them out, like that's what it reminds me of here. And I'm really just gonna be carving this little bit here. I'm not gonna be taking too much off. And I'm gonna carefully start doing this, and I'm using a very sharp knife. And I'm just gonna go around my cake and do this. So after I have my cake carved down, I'm gonna go ahead and put a crumb coat on this, and I'm gonna pop it back in the fridge because I do want it crusted before I start doing all my watercolor painting technique. So while my crumb coat is chilling in the freezer, I'm going to work on the chocolate sail. And what I have here are just melted candy melts, and I used Wilton in black. And I warmed them up according to the directions. So these are nice, this is nice and smooth. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna actually place this on wax paper here. I've seen people use like fancy, like, I don't even know what it's called, but wax paper totally works. So I'm just going to put a little bit of my chocolate here, and I'm taking my offset spatula and I'm just kind of spreading this out, and this is going to go on top of my cake, so I'm like picturing it sticking up. And then from here I'm just going to create some folds in my sail. And I'm actually using like a binder clip. Former teacher, guys. I've seen people use clothespins, but this works for me too. So I'm just trying to create like some texture here so you can see like there's folds. And these set really fast, and we actually just put this in the fridge for like 5 or 10 minutes and it will harden. So the chocolate set in the fridge for maybe 10 minutes and it's already hardened. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna peel this away and I'm gonna paint this with gold luster dust. So I'm just gonna carefully peel my wax paper. So what I'm using is a little bit of Pharaoh's Gold Luster Dust, and this is very popular because it works really well. And I'm just going to take a little bit of my gold and add a small amount of vodka. And this alcohol will burn off, and you can see I was actually using this earlier. I have my same plate. And for me, I needed a couple coats to cover my chocolate sail. So the first one's not going to completely do it, but I'm going to go ahead and give a coat all over. And this does evaporate pretty quickly, like within like 10 minutes you can do another coat. So just start by giving it its first layer. And we're gonna let this dry. And what I would do is I'm just gonna keep going over this with more luster dust. I did prep one ahead of time, and I should let you guys know this was several coats of luster dust. And what I ended up doing with the final coat is I actually just took a little bit of the powder and filled in any spots. I would say this was like 3 coats plus just a little bit of the powder going in. And you can see I did both sides here. And when I put it on the cake, I will go in and also add in a little bit more gold if I see any splotchy areas. All right, so my cake has been crumb coated, and I did do a couple layers of frosting off camera, and I didn't completely smooth this out because of the technique that I'm gonna be doing next. So for this technique, it is like the textured buttercream, like the scraped buttercream look, and I did a similar technique when I did my fault line cake, and I love how it turned out. And I'm gonna use a little bit of a different color palette. And what I'm gonna be doing is just adding little bits of frosting with my offset spatula. So I should mention that this cake did just come out of the refrigerator because when you do this technique, you want your cake to be crusted, the bottom layer to be crusted. And then I'm just gonna take my bench scraper and I'm going to scrape some of this buttercream away. And I do wanna leave some texture here, so I'm not getting it perfectly smooth. I'm just gonna start in adding a bunch of different colors, and there's no rhyme or reason. I'm just going with what I feel like looks good. I might not even use all these colors, I'm not sure. My white layer over my watercolor layer, I'm gonna add some gold similar to the fault line cake. And I think this gold edge is going to tie together with the gold sail. So this is just little pieces of edible gold. It's very delicate, and I'm just gonna add in little tiny streaks. Last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my gold chocolate sail to the top of this cake. Alright, so my ingold cake is complete, and I do think it looks a little bit more like a rhombus shape than a parallelogram, but I definitely love it. And I do hope that you guys enjoyed this tutorial as well. If you did, don't forget to like this episode and subscribe to my channel.